Thank you, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the re-inauguration of the Don Vicente. We're deeply honored for you accepting our invitation to be part of this historic moment in the city of Ybor. The Don Vicente is much more than wood, brick, and plaster. It is what Ybor is all about. A rich history that will continue to live on. This building has undergone many changes and repairs, but the soul of the building remains intact and represents the evolution of the city as a whole. As we sit here together in this fine evening, we are becoming part of a new identity with its rich culture, with a chance to document the changes for future generations to come. It is important that this emblematic building bears the name Don Vicente. Let me take you a little back in time to introduce you to two men, one of which you know and one of which you might not know. Don Vicente Martinez Ybor was born in 1818 in Spain. At the age of 14, he immigrated to Cuba, where he was always an industrious young man. Eventually, in the 1850s, built his first cigar factory, which led to the largest cigar factory with the most production of cigars in the world. And his brand was called Príncipe de Gales. During the 1868 to 1878 10-year revolution, the war in Cuba called the Cry of Gado, he started sympathizing with the Cubans. All his employees were Cubans. Cuba had given him a wonderful home to his wife and children. And so he started helping them financially. Within a year, about 1869, the Spanish government caught wind of it, and so he had heard that they were going to arrest him and his family. So he fled Cuba in 1869 to Key West, where he started the production of his company again, and within 5 years he was producing as many cigars in Key West as he was in Cuba. Stepping back a little, I want to discuss another prominent player in his life, which was named Eduardo Manrara. Eduardo Manrara has been called the man forgotten by history. He was born in 1842 in Camagüey, Cuba. He was 24 years younger than Don Vicente. He studied mathematics, which led him to his calling of banking and finance. One day at the Bank of Havana, where he was working, he met Don Vicente. Don Vicente Martinez Ybor walked in with his finances, and so Eduardo Manrara took a look at him and found a lot of discrepancies. And so he pointed them out. And within a week, he was working with Don Vicente Martinez Ybor, and their relationship lasted the rest of their life. So he was the one that helped Don Vicente and his family safe passage to Key West. He helped them in Key West in acquiring the buildings, selecting the workers, running all the financial aspects of the business. He was decisive and had an acumen for business. When Don Vicente, his production expanded, they went to New York City, which Eduardo Manrara, who took the reins and traveled many times to New York City. For that reason, he stopped at the port of Tampa to either take a train or take a ship to another destination. So Eduardo Manrara knew this area very well. So his opinion was critical when it came time for the decision to buy the land here in Ybor City for Vicente Ybor. Without Manrara, most likely, the cigar factory industry would not be here in Ybor City. So naturally, in 1885, he was by Don Vicente Martinez's side on their first visit together. They both negotiated the land, they built the factories, they built an array of buildings, and with the help of their friend, the land surveyor named Gabino Gutierrez, they created this beautiful city of ours. The homes of all the workers that they added in order to accommodate, because in Key West, one of the issues that they were having was the employees did not have a comfortable place to live. So Martinez said, wherever we go, we need to build a city for our workers. So they together built a beautiful, thriving city, properly named Ybor City. So this building was built back in 1887 that looked like this. It had the original basement that you see today, plus the two floors. The two other floors were framed. They used it as their land development business. So they had the main cigar factory that was built in 1885, 1886. This building was built on after. But this building here was their offices, and this is where they conducted all their development business. When Mr. Ybor, under Mr. Manrara's suggestion, requested the major building contractor, C.E. Purcell, which was their main builder. They built an array of product with him. So they built this building at a cost of $25,000. Well, today that doesn't go well. The building was occupied for over 20 years until 1907, when the decision was made to construct a new brick structure on this lot. The wood building was demolished in the early part of 1907, and by the spring of 1908, we had a brand new building, the Don Vicente. Then in 1908, Ybor City sustained a great fire, where 2/3 of the frame buildings were burnt. Among them was the Gonzalez Clinic, which was located in the southwest corner of 15th Street and 9th Avenue, and so was Eduardo Manrara's residence. Then after the fire, due to the necessity of a medical facility, the building was turned from office to healthcare clinic known as El Bien Público, free of charge. Medical services for all the Ybor City residents were unique in the area, and even though there were some other ones in Tampa, it was quite unique for the people in this area. So an interesting history was that in this basement, not only while it was used as surgery facilities and recovery, half of it was a speakeasy. So when you came to visit your aunt that was sick, then you could go have a drink next door. So from the years 1919 to 1932, it was very popular in those days. So as is described in the Tampa records, in 1935, the clinic changed the name to the A.A. Gonzalez Clinic, which provided full medical, affordable services to the residents of Ybor City until it closed in 1968. So this building, from 1908 to 1968, for 60 years, only had one tenant. Then after the urban renewal, the building sat decades mostly empty. The 30 years had not been kind to the building, with water damage, ripped floors, and ceiling. At one point during the 1970s, it was marked for complete demolition due to the physical deterioration. After two previous owners, in 1996, Mr. Jack Shiver, a local developer, which many of you know, decided to renovate the building, give it a new look, and it became a bed and breakfast until May 28, 2015. Today, over 100 years later, the building is having a new revival with a new look and new aspirations. So who was Eduardo Manrara, the man forgotten by history? He was such an important figure in our city that I'm going to read you a few of his accomplishments. He was the founder of the Exchange Bank of Tampa in 1886. He also created, in association with Henry B. Plank, the Tampa streetcar system, covering Ybor City, West Tampa, and Tampa. In 1894, he was the founder of the Ybor City Building and Loan Association, and this association allowed the cigar rollers to obtain financing for their homes. In 1895, Mr. Manrara advances most of the capital necessary for the formation of Tampa Gas Company and the Tampa Electric Company. In 1896, that's when Don Vicente died. And so, leaving Mr. Manrara, the sole proprietor of the Ybor Manrara Cigar Company. When he was on his deathbed, he called Manrara and said, "This is what I'm going to give to you." And Mr. Manrara said, "No, I cannot accept that." And he said, "Because of us, we've had a life, a contribution to the society, and I know after I'm gone, you're going to continue helping the society." So he put all his efforts into Eduardo Manrara. So in 1897, he's a major investor in the Florida Brewing Company. In 1899, he consolidates the cigar industry from Tampa, New Orleans, Chicago, New York, and Key West. In 1890, he receives the title of the President of the National Cigar Manufacturers of America, and locally the President of the Florida Cigar Manufacturers and Distributors of Tobacco Products. He presented in 1901 a proposal to the Tampa City Council for the relocation of Port Tampa to a closer location south of the city, today's Port of Tampa, since 1928. In 1901, and he was probably back then in his late 40s, he brought the first automobile to Ybor City, an electric Packard, and became the first Tampa driver. Imagine living a whole life with all this construction, with all this development, with creating a city, no cars. Just, to me, I find it infallible how somebody can create so much goodwill like he did. So he retired from the company back in 1910, leaving in charge his son, Eduardo Jr., and Candido Martinez, which was Mr. Ybor's son. And then he moved his family back to New York City. So in 1912, the city of Tampa owed Mr. Manrara in excess of $350,000 in IOUs, because he would say, I think that this side needs infrastructure, and he would do it with his funds and then collect it later from the city of Tampa. So not only was he a visionary, he was a doer. So he passed away in 1912 in Gotham, New York City, surrounded by his family. And that day, all the funeral cigar factories in the whole United States closed. So because of these two men, we're standing in a building that's emblematic and that will live on for many generations. So my final point that I would like to discuss is, where are we headed tomorrow? Where is Ybor headed going? Ybor City is historic, a city that was created by diversity and many different cultures, with participation from the Italians, the Spaniards, the Jewish immigrants, the Cubans, and many more. Its typical construction is brick, majestic, factories, shops, homes, anything that's needed to create and have a functional city. The streets are aligned in avenues and streets, just as they did in New York City. And with so much grand architecture, and most of all, with 125 years of our rich history. So all this makes us think that Ybor should aspire to convert its status to patrimony of humanity, patrimonio de la humanidad. Cities like St. Augustine, Old Havana, Cartagena de India, and so many other cities have that designation, which creates them as a special type of city known for its rich history. For that, we need to work on an investigation for our history to preserve and to try to push our city to be named a city of patrimony. Ybor City will have a wonderful future. For that, we are working very hard. Once again, we are collectively making history tonight together in the beautiful city of Ybor City.